Oh boy, do we have a lot to unpack today. The reveal for the sequel to Breath of the Wild was shown back at E3 2019, and even though the trailer was only about a minute and a half long, this whole Zelda community kind of went into a theory frenzy. Honestly, the anticipation brings me back to the theory days of the first Breath of the Wild. It's also kind of just in general wild that I get to say the first Breath of the Wild. Many people have made theories that have tried to connect this zombie corpse guy to a previous figure in Zelda history. Most important to note is that he's adorned with Gerudo jewelry, and so the prevailing theory is that this is the mummified corpse of Ganondorf himself. And I'm cool with that theory. It makes a lot of sense. In fact, yelling, "It's zombie Ganondorf" was my initial reaction way back when the trailer was first shown off.
It's zombie Ganondorf!
However, aside from all of those theories, there's been another popular one going around which I think we need to address, and that is the good guy Ganondorf theory. So what is the good guy Ganondorf theory? It's a theory that our pal Ganondorf here is not the evil villain we all believe him to be, that he was in fact a previous hero as seen on the tapestry artwork in Breath of the Wild, who stood with the princess of that day wielding the legendary Master Sword. With the assistance of the guardians and divine beasts, and the princess's sealing power, Ganondorf defeated the calamity of 10,000 years ago and brought peace to Hyrule. And sure, while the tapestry does show the hero of that time with what appears to be red hair, you know what else it shows? That everybody aside from the princess has red hair. Every other character shown on the tapestry has red hair or is simply not colored. And given the stylized artwork of the tapestry and the fact that it's actually mostly discolored from what we can assume is age, I'd really call this piece of evidence weak at best. Another thing to note, Calamity Ganon seems to be Ganon's spirit. So how would it make sense for Ganondorf to use the Master Sword to seal his own soul? How would Ganondorf even have the Master Sword? In order to wield the legendary blade, it must accept you as its master. Its only master has been Link. It's shown in Skyward Sword that only Link may use the sword. Most likely other incarnations of Link have also been able to draw this blade as they possess the spirit of the hero. Two exceptions to this are seen. However, these are not without explanation. In Skyward Sword, Girahim does steal the sword from Link. While fighting him, it's possible for him to disarm you and use the sword against you. However, at this time, it is still technically the goddess sword and has not been tempered into the true Master Sword. Therefore, he could disarm Link and wield it, because it was not at its full power. Once it is tempered into the Master Sword, he no longer does this during boss fights. The Thunder Dragon trials do not count, because that's just a boss rush mode, and those fights are actually trials created from Link's own memory. He's not actually fighting Girahim in those fights. The other exception is actually Breath of the Wild. Spoilers, but 100 years prior to the events of the game, when Link falls in battle, Zelda actually takes the sword to place it in the care of the Deku Tree. However, since Zelda is literally a descendant of the goddess Hylia, who the goddess sword originally belonged to, I'm pretty sure that the spirit within the sword had just made the exception to allow her to simply transport it back to its pedestal, especially since its master had fallen in combat, and the sword itself was also in a weakened state. So, without having the spirit of the hero, how could Ganondorf use the Master Sword to defeat himself? Could Ganondorf actually embody the spirit of the hero? Is that possible in universe? Would it be possible for Ganondorf to be aware of the curse placed on him by Demise, to resist his evil urges and become the hero? Would he be able to break free of this cycle? The short answer is no, because Ganondorf was not cursed by Demise. Link was, and Ganondorf would need to be aware of this curse to begin with, which we have no reason to believe he ever has any knowledge of it. Here's what the curse actually says. My hate never perishes. It is born anew in a cycle with no end. I will rise again. Those like you, those who share the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero, they are eternally bound to this curse. An incarnation of my hatred shall ever follow your kind, dooming them to wander a blood-soaked sea of darkness for all time. So what does this mean? Ganondorf is not bound to this curse. He is a symptom of it. The curse binds those with the blood of the goddess, in other words, every incarnation of Zelda, and those with the spirit of the hero, which would be all of our Links, that they shall be followed by an incarnation of his hatred. Ganondorf isn't corrupted by the Demon King Demise's curse. He's not corrupted by hatred. He is hatred incarnate. No amount of awareness can break that. Can you cure the flu of a cough? No, that makes no sense. Now, I do understand that Wind Waker actually explores Ganondorf a little bit more and paints him in more of a sympathetic light. In Wind Waker, he claims his motivations were that he wanted a better life for his people, which is why he went to conquer Hyrule in Ocarina of Time, as they envied the lush green fields. But you know what he did after he conquered Hyrule in that game? I'll tell you what he didn't do. He did not provide a better life for his people. He left them living in the desert while he built himself a floating castle suspended over lava. He may have had thoughts and feelings, and he may have envied those green fields of Hyrule. Having grown up in a harsh climate, that makes sense. However, that does not make him a good dude. Let's not forget that shortly after saying all of this, he straight up punches a child in the face. He also spent the entirety of Wind Waker kidnapping people. So, do I think the good guy Ganondorf theory has any weight to it? No, not at all. I don't understand how people can watch this trailer, see zombie Ganondorf corpse with pure malice spilling out of him, which by the way, malice is basically liquid evil energy, and see this corpse awaken with piercing evil eyes, and then say to themselves, that's the good guy. The truth is, the previous hero in the tapestry is most likely a previous Link that we haven't seen. And even if he does have red hair, that does not necessarily make it Ganondorf. That's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. I want to give a shout out to my lovely patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.